Hi there. In this tutorial, I'm going to guide you through how to obtain a handshake from a wireless network. A handshake is the authentication process that happens when a client, for example a computer or a phone, connects to a wireless network. In order to crack a network's password, we'll need to obtain this handshake process. To do this, we'll need a wireless adapter that supports monitor mode. There's many adapters out there that support this, and you can find a list of these on our website, WPA.net. It's worth going through the first steps of this tutorial to see if your adapter can support it. I've got an old netbook which does support it, so it's highly likely that your computer or laptop will too. Okay, so I'll first show you how to download and install Backtrack to a USB pen drive. Make sure you have a spare one ready, as this will need to be formatted. Open up Google and type Linux Live USB. You click on the first link, then click download, download again, and if you save that, I've already done that. Okay, once saved, if you run the file and install it. Okay, if you run it as well. Okay, this is the Linux Live USB creator. It'll basically transfer a Linux image to a USB drive. So we also need the Backtrack image file. So if you go to Google again and Backtrack download, click the first link, click on downloads. You don't need to register, just click download. Okay, select this top one, Backtrack 5 R3. You want GNOME 32. Click ISO and direct and click to download. And if you save that, I've already downloaded it because my connection might take a while. Okay, so once the image file is downloaded as well, if you go back to the Linux USB creator, choose your USB pen drive. So this is mine, a 4 gig one. And select ISO. Okay, now choose the Backtrack image. Okay, this persistence bit is if you want to save files, it'll use a section on the USB drive to do that. So you probably just want to put a few hundred meg on there. Tick this format the key in FAT32. Okay, and then click on the lightning button. It says, are you sure you want to format? Click OK. Okay, this might take a while. Okay, once complete, you'll need to insert the USB pen drive into your computer and restart it if it's the one that you're using. I'm currently using a virtual machine to demonstrate this, but the process is still the same. So when the BIOS screen is on, you should have two options, one to get into the BIOS or you'll have another one to get straight into the boot menu. So you could either do it both ways. You could go into the BIOS and make it boot from the USB drive, or in my case click escape and I'm straight into the boot menu. So we just select the USB drive. Yours might say USB disk. Okay, Backtrack should start to load. You'll be first prompted to select a boot mode. It's very important you choose Backtrack persistent, as files can then be saved to the USB. Just might take a moment to load. You will now be prompted to select a video mode. Either press the spacebar to detect this automatically, or press enter to select one manually. I'm going to press the spacebar. You shouldn't be prompted to log in, but if you've installed Backtrack to the hard drive, the username is root and the password is Tor, T-O-O-R. Once at the prompt, type startx and press enter. Okay, once loaded, click the terminal icon at the top. We then type mon-ng This will show us what interface number our adapter is on. If you then type mon-ng start and then the interface number, in my case it's WLAN0, this will put the adapter into monitor mode. If your adapter is supported, it will clearly say monitor mode enabled on Mon0. If not, then you would have to use another computer laptop with a supported wireless chipset. You can always buy a USB adapter as well. We recommend some on our website. Okay, once enabled, we'll need to find our target network. So type aerodump-ng and then the monitor number, so Mon0. Okay, this will show us a list of networks in our local area. So we just find the one we want. When it's listed in there, press Ctrl+C to close down aerodump. So this is the one that we want. So now we can target that one more specifically. So we type aerodump-ng, and it's -C, which is the channel. So in our case it's 5, -W, which is the file name, what our capture will be written to. So we can just type my capture, and we specify the bssid, and we just copy it from here, paste that, and we specify the monitor number again, so it was Mon0. Okay, aerodump will now target our specific network. This will monitor all traffic and will capture any handshakes that happen. We can leave this running and wait for a connection to the network to happen, which will generate a handshake, but this may take a while. If we have clients already connected to the network, we can disconnect them. They should then automatically reconnect, and our handshake will be captured much faster. The bottom section here shows if there's any currently connected clients. We can either disconnect all the clients on the network at once, or we can target a specific client. Open a new terminal window at the top. Okay, so you type replay-ng -0, which is the deauthentication mode. The next number is how many times you want to send the deauthentication command, so usually 5 will do the job. And we specify the network. So we just copy the bssid here. Okay, now if you wanted to disconnect all clients on the network, we would just put Mon0 and press enter, and that would disconnect both of these off the network. But if we just want to specify one client, use the -C option, and we copy the client to the station, paste that in, and specify the monitor number, Mon0. So that'll send the deauthentication command, and hopefully the device will attempt to reconnect again. And as you can see here, the WPA handshake has been captured now. So now that we've got our handshake, we need to make sure it is a valid handshake and all of the packets have been captured correctly. So we just need to verify that. So if you go to the aerodump window and click Ctrl+C to stop the aerodump now, if we do ls-l, this will list all of the capture files. So I think my latest one is this one here. So in order to verify the handshake, we use a program called Pirate, and -r, which specifies the input file. So we need to use our capture file. Every time you run aerodump, it'll create another file if you specify the same file name with the -w. So this latest one is the one we've just captured. So paste that in there, and we type the word analyze. Okay, so as you can see here, to say that this is a good handshake. So that is basically all that we would need to crack the password. To make the capture file as small as possible, we can strip the packets that are not needed. So we type pirate again, specify the input file, and we need an output file now for the sort of stripped version of the capture file. So my capture, let's put stripped, and the option at the end is strip. So Pirate has now stripped the capture and left only the required packets. Okay, some captures can have bad handshakes in them as well. If you're sending the capture to us, and so long as you've at least got one good handshake in the capture, that's fine. You can copy that over and send that to us. No more steps are required. If you are cracking the handshake yourself and you also have bad handshakes alongside the good ones, in this tutorial I will also guide you through deleting the bad handshakes in a capture file. Okay, so now that we have the handshake capture file, depending what you're planning to do with this, there's many ways we can move this handshake capture file about. The first is to use the internet in Backtrack to either upload it somewhere. For example, if you're sending it to us, or you can email it to yourself as an attachment using Gmail, Hotmail, or whoever your email provider is. The second way to access it is to access your Backtrack USB drive using Windows and copying the file using a program called Explorer2FS. And finally, the third way is to just use another USB pen drive and copying the handshake file over to it. I'm going to guide you through each of these methods. So first, if you've already got internet access and you're using an Ethernet cable, hopefully Backtrack should automatically detect the network settings and you should already have access to the internet. So you should be able to click Applications, Internet and Firefox, and you should already be on the internet. If you use a wireless network to access the internet, if you click on this WPA Network Manager, and if you then click a terminal at the top, if you just type ifconfig, we just need to check what the adapter's interface number is. So mine's WLAN 0. So we can close that. Click on Preferences and just make sure that matches what we've got here. Mine's already correct, it just says WLAN 0. Yours might say WLAN 1. So once you've checked that or corrected it, just click OK. You might need to click on Refresh. Okay, so once you find your wireless network, if you click on Properties and just enter your password in here. So once you've done that, click on OK, then click on Connect. Okay, so now you should be connected to the internet. So if we go back onto Firefox, so if you are sending the handshake file to us, just go to our website. You may have to click an Allow Scripts button here. So we type an email in and click on Browse. So it should already be in the correct directory where all your capture files are stored. If not, just click on Root on the left hand side. So it's this one that we want. That was our latest one, my capture-02. So double click that, just click Upload, and that's uploaded the file to us. You can also go onto your web-based email and email it to yourself. Just close Firefox. Okay, so the second way of copying the handshake file is to access the USB drive using Windows. If you do have another USB pen drive, I'd recommend just skipping this step, and I'll just guide you through how to copy to the USB pen drive afterwards. So this way is accessing the USB drive using Windows. So we would first need to open Terminal, and we just need to shut down the computer correctly. just so that we don't corrupt any of the saved capture files that we've obtained. So if you type shutdown space -p space now, this should shut down Backtrack. Okay, so if you then go to the Windows machine where you want to access the handshake file from, and just open up a web browser. If you type in explore to fs, so it's this top link, this chrysocomb.net explore to fs. Okay, so if you scroll down, okay, so if you click this latest beta version, click open, it should open it within your default archive manager, so mine's WinRAR, you might have WinZip. So if you just run that file, okay, so when export to FS is running, make sure the Backtrack USB pen drive is inserted into the Windows machine you want to access it on. Then click on File and Open Image File. Then we need to navigate to the USB pen drive. So this one's mine. So you'll have no files here listed at first. We just need to change the file type to all files. The one that we want is called Casper-RW. Double click on that. We then need to expand it on the left hand side, and all the capture files, they should be saved within this root directory. As you can see, they're all here listed. So our latest one, the one that we got the valid handshake with, is this one here. So we just right click, export file, and you can save this wherever you like. So I'll just put mine on the desktop and click on save. Okay, so that saved the handshake file to your Windows machine. From there you could either email it somewhere else or crack it on a Windows machine. So as you can see now, the handshake file's now saved to my desktop. Okay, so as I've mentioned before, the last way of accessing the capture file is just simply by copying it to a second USB pen drive, which you can insert into the computer and just transfer it to that. So yeah, if you insert your USB drive, and if you just go to Places, click on Home, this should be where all the capture files are, so it's probably easier to sort by details. And it's this one here, my Capture 2 stripped. So just right click, copy, open your pen drive, and click paste. That will copy it to there. Make sure you always eject the drive, just to make sure there's no corruption. And okay, that's good for sending to us then. If you are cracking by yourself, I'm going to show you how to just make sure there's only one good handshake in the capture file. So just to make sure the cracking software always chooses the good handshake when it's doing it. That's what I've always done. So I'll just show you a bad example. If you're sending it to us, then you don't need to worry about anything else. You can ignore the rest of this tutorial. When you insert your USB drive, if you want to access it from the terminal, just type mount, and then it'll say something like /media, and then / the name of your drive. Okay, now I'll just show you an example of a capture file that has a bad handshake in it. So pirate. Okay, as you can see, this one, it had three good handshakes, and there's one bad one. you only need the one good handshake. So we can edit that using a program called Wireshark. This is a Windows program, so yeah, if you just go to Windows, copy the handshake over, and load up Wireshark, you can just search for it in Google, download and install it. Okay, so when Wireshark is loaded up, if you just file open the capture file that has the bad handshake in it. Okay, so now that we've got the capture file open, it basically shows us all the packets that relate to them handshakes. If you didn't use the strip function of pirate on the capture file, then you'd see a lot more packets. So this first one identifies the network. It's the broadcast packet, so we need that one. And if you look, the first handshake was good, so we can just look at the times here, that the earliest one, this will be the earliest handshake. To help us better identify a group of handshake messages, we can find a link between message 1 and message 3. This is called the WPA keynotes. You could then look between these linked messages and find message 2. If you expand this section here and expand 802.1x authentication, you'll see this section, WPA keynotes. When clicking on message 1 and message 3, you should notice that the nonce is the same. That's just a little bit extra that we can go by when trying to identify the correct messages of a handshake. So obviously between message 1 and message 3, you'd look for message 2 as well, and hopefully message 4 should just be after this one. So it's basically just the first 4 packets that we need. A handshake has 4 parts. This can be cracked with the correct 2 parts, for example, messages 1 and 2, or messages 2 and 3. We'll copy all of the messages from the relevant handshake just to be sure. Marking these 4 packets will export this one good handshake. All of the rest will be discarded. So then we click on File and Export Specified Packets. We click on Marked Packets. So I can put bad example, no good. Make sure you've got .cap at the end. Click on Save. So now once we look at the capture, so pirate -r, bad example, no good. Analyze. We will see that only the one handshake is now shown, which we can trust when we're doing the actual cracking process. We can trust that the cracking program is just using this good handshake, and just to be sure it's not using any bad handshakes. Okay, so that's how you capture a handshake. If you'd like further details, please go to our website, wpacrack.net.